another Jazz Drum Q-tip of the week. My name is Quincy Davis. Thank you so much for tuning in, especially to those of you who have been following me for a long time, my regular viewers. You know I love you. And to those of you who are new or just now discovering me, welcome to my channel. And in fact, I think you're going to like it so much that just go ahead and press the like button, and I would love it if you subscribed and introduce yourself. Let me know who you are, where you're tuning in from, and let me know what you thought of the lesson in the comments, because I read them all, actually. All right, so this lesson is all about the biggest problem with being a drummer. Okay, I know that sounds weird because there's no real problem with being a drummer. It's a true honor and privilege to be able to call ourselves drummers, right? But we also know that with great power comes what? Great responsibility. And I want to talk about the responsibility. And I'm especially talking to those of you who play in a more acoustic setting, in acoustic settings with other musicians that require you to play different dynamics. Hint, hint. Before I get too deep into the lesson, I want to make sure you know about an exciting event happening this coming Saturday, June 28th, 2025, because some of you are going to watch this way after this, with the incredible, incomparable drummer, band leader, producer, author, Ulysses Owens Jr. He's going to be giving an exclusive Q&A session to my community. Yes, my community. You're going to want to check that out. The link will be down below, but this is an exclusive event for my community members. So if you want to attend the Zoom session and ask questions and get a chance to interact with them, then you got to join the community. But it's worth it because we're doing all kinds of fun, exciting things there, and you're hanging out basically with like-minded drummers. So definitely worth checking out. Ulysses Owens Jr., June 28th, this coming Saturday. Be there or be square. I guess that's what they say. I don't know. All right, so have you figured it out? Have you figured out what the biggest problem with playing the drums is? It's also our biggest superpower. This instrument is so easy and it's fun to play loud. It's so easy to play loud and it's fun. We get into our practice room and we like to hit, right? We're more likely to play this instrument loud and with a lot of power than we are to get in the practice room and play quiet, right? And this is why when a lot of drummers, I'm especially speaking to those of you who play in acoustic bands, right? Of course, jazz, but there's other styles that you're playing with acoustic instruments where you could easily drown them out. So if we don't practice quiet, the quieter dynamics, then we're not going to feel comfortable doing that on a gig and keeping it interesting, keeping it groovy, playing with energy and spirit and passion, all the same as when we play at the bigger dynamics. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do. When you go to your practice room, I want you to practice. In fact, tomorrow, this is your homework, or today, whenever you watch this, challenge yourself to predominantly practice the quieter dynamics. Now, just because you're playing a quiet dynamic doesn't mean you can't have a note here or there pop out. And when you listen to drummers like Tony Williams or Brian Blade, right? Or Kenny Washington, all of them, all the great drummers do this. They have the ability to play quiet, but then they bring out certain notes, right? And that keeps the music interesting. So let's just start with playing time. So if I'm playing time right here, and it has to be quiet, I'm going to lean more into my hi-hats to carry the feeling of the time, right? To keep it nice and to keep the time real stable, but without the volume. So if I'm playing here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's kind of a louder dynamic, right? That's maybe a mezzo forte. But if I want to get that same energy, you see? So now my dynamics are at a range where I can hear the band so clearly. I've heard the great Kenny Washington say, if you can't hear somebody on the bandstand, then you're playing too loud, right? You shouldn't require a monitor to hear the band. You just have to adjust your dynamics. So this is not easy, but I encourage you, instead of lifting my stick, instead of doing that, and when you do that, you have to also pay attention to the actual rhythm. The quieter you play, right, the more accurate and effective and groovy and good feeling your time and whatever you play has to be. There's more attention on that. That's why it's really great to practice quiet. Right? Because if you can produce a good feel and if your beat is clear at that volume, then of course when you play louder, it's going to be even easier to play it at that volume, right? So that's time playing. What about soloing? It's the same thing, right? I want to play the same thing, but just play it quieter. And this way, you have to really pay attention to your accents, which notes you want to pop out and which notes you want to play a little more subdued. So you see, it's not loud. It's certainly not loud, but it's also certainly not quiet to the point where I'm barely playing. You can still play, but now I'm playing with a lot more control and touch and care, right? That I'm not losing control of the sound of the kit. Very, very, very important. So when you're practicing your rudiments, instead of playing here, play here. Playing the Wilcoxon, right? Right? Make sure you're able to play it at that dynamic. And I think it's going to really expand your dynamic range when you're soloing, when you're playing time. As they say, whatever you play loud, you got to be able to play it quiet. Okay? So that's my message to you. Practice at the quieter dynamics as well, but don't lose the intensity, don't lose the energy, the spirit, the freedom, right? The conviction that you play with at the louder dynamics. It should all be the same. And you can lean in to playing time more with your feet. That way you're not overplaying with your hands and losing control of the sound of the kit up here. All right? I hope that helps, and I hope to see you on Saturday. Ulysses Owens Jr., June 28th, exclusive for my community. He's doing a Q&A session. I'll be there. I hope you're going to be there too. Until then, though, you know what to do. Practice hard, but practice smart. Take care. Peace.